Pred family, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and happy patch day. We finally made it to the much-awaited 4.3 patch, and this is kind of the ADC item rework patch. A lot of things got reworked, and just a lot of changes in general to the items and build paths at large. Quick disclaimer, this video is going to be more of a stream of consciousness. I'm not really going to be focusing on the competitive viability or min-maxing items. This is just going to be kind of a straight-up reaction on whether I think an item got better or worse than it was before, or if it just kind of stayed the same. Secondly, there is a lot of stuff that changed, so this is going to be a pretty long video on its own, so I'm going to do my best to try and speed through things where I can. I don't really want to keep you guys sitting here all day when there's more Predecessor to be played. If you guys do go on to enjoy this content, or if you learned something new, consider dropping a like on the video and maybe even subscribing. It really does help the channel out, and I appreciate all your guys' support. Also, if there's anything you guys want me to go more in depth about, or if you have a question or a thought about something else, drop it down in the comments section below. I love hearing from the community, and I'm just as eager to hear your thoughts as you are to hear mine. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the patch notes. Let's check it out. So, balance update v0.4.3. Let me flip me around here so we can put you guys on, or put the important stuff on the big screen. Now, I do have Pred open off to the side. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see that, but I will. It's more so a reference to the kind of older items, so that when we're looking at changes, we can reference what their old stats and passives were. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop in. So some general tweaks. What is this for? And full disclosure, I have not really looked through this in depth. I've seen like pictures of items and heroes that are in this, so I kind of sort of know who was affected and what was affected, but I have zero idea how. So you guys are going to be learning right along with me here. So this is in reference to CC immunity from cleanses, so it's probably in reference to a lot of the crest items, i.e. Liberator, the Brutalix, I think. So what these do is they give you a 0.5, a half a second CC immunity. They're dropping that down to 0.25, which is kind of drastic. I have pretty good internet, but so, you know, that's not going to be a huge change for me. I don't suffer with ping or packet loss or anything like that. But for those of you who do, this is probably going to suck. You're probably going to be blindly firing these things off now. So I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't see why we can't just leave it at a half second, but it's neither here nor there. Ranged basic attack projectile speed increases. So speed goes up, projectile radius size goes down a little bit, so it looks like it'll be a little harder to hit your shots as a ranged character, but they do travel faster, so maybe that will offset. We'll have to see. Drongo's the big the first big hero. We'll get some changes too. The only thing I know is that his gas grenade starts to do damage, which I love. So his passive changes, and it no longer increases ability damage based on crit strike chance. Does that mean he doesn't do additional blah blah blah? So he does, it looks like he does keep, I don't know, that's not very clear. It says he loses the ability damage, but I'm not sure if that's talking about this 30%. I'm sure it's talking about this 30% here. Drongo's critical blah blah blah, apply a bleed. So that's physical damage. So the DOT bleed is probably going to stay. The 30% crit chance probably will not. So that damage is added elsewhere into the kit. He gets the gag grenade. And that does apply the Wastelander DOT that we were just talking about. So that's kind of neat. It's not a ton of damage, but more, you know, any damage is better than no damage, right? Rusty, so the boomerang goes up a touch with damage, it looks like. Scaling goes up a touch, and cooldown goes... so it goes from a flat 8 to higher in the early game and lower in the late game. Interesting. Rad rounds get a little bit of a buff. to that first initial shot, so that's always good. Base cannon increased. Wowza. That's not negligible. I mean, 50 more damage. The 20% scaling, though, that's kind of massive. What's it at right now? Does it say? 60%. Oh, it says 60% right there. So it goes up from 60% to 80%. So that's going to do a lot of damage, actually. That may catch some people off guard. So Drongo's already pretty good, despite me being absolute dog water with him. I hear he's a very good character. So it sounds like he just gets a net buff. It sounds like he's just going to be better. So Gadget, looks like they're having problems with her durability. Blah, blah, blah. So base health goes down 20. I mean, that doesn't really make any difference. Maybe it does in the end game. Shield max mana, blah, blah, blah. So you lose 2% on your passive, your shield, and the base damage that it deals when it explodes. It looks like they decreased that as well. Overall, that's probably not going to hurt her too much. So we probably won't see a drastic change there. Gideon, base damage does go down a little bit. Not a little bit, actually. 200. Oh, but the scaling goes up, so that's probably going to negate itself. Honestly, I can't say for sure because I didn't run like the math on that, but I'm sure that will balance out because you're gaining 21 more %. So if you have 1,000 black hole damage, which is, I would say, the norm, like 1,000 bonus magical damage, 20% of that is 200. So that's probably going to offset. You may even end up doing more damage. So that might be a net buff. Muriel, a bug fix. Base shield decreased from... These are all the same numbers. Wait a minute. Except for here. So her shield loses efficiency in the late game. I wasn't aware of that. I'm not a Muriel player or a support player by any means. So, a bug fix. So that's just a nerf. Bug or not. Revenant Hellfire rounds. Reload can now be initiated if right mouse button is used immediately after the fourth shot. Okay, yeah. So there's kind of that weird sort of period after you fire your Hellfire round. You can't. You couldn't reload. So it looks like they're kind of allowing you to do that now, which will increase your DPS because you're firing a little bit quicker each magazine, as it were. Shouldn't be. I'm sure these are due. Mana regen growth decreased from 0.25 to 0.18. That's good. I'm not sure if it'll be enough, but that's a step in the right direction. Maybe she can actually run out of mana now. That was kind of the issue I spoke to with the Ometa dev in chat up there, is that she never runs out of mana. She's always able to just sling her Q out there. So it's good that they're at least looking into that. Circle Rhythm fixed an issue where Circle Rhythm was applying damage over 6 ticks instead of 4, causing her ult to stack faster. So you lose 2 ticks, or I'm sorry, rather 2 stacks on your ultimate. But you're still going to be doing the same amount of damage with Circle Rhythm because it's just 4 ticks instead of 6. So each individual tick will do more damage, and you're doing the same amount of DPS overall. So this is probably negligible, maybe even a buff, depending how you look at it. Also fixed an issue where Circle Rhythm was going on cooldown at the start of the cast instead of the end. Okay, so that'll kind of help with Megacosm as well. So good. It's good that they're looking into Shinbi because she was a bit of a problem. So that's good that they're, giving her some love. She needs a little bit of tuning. Sparrow, her piercing shot, that's the right click. Piercing shot base damaged is increased. So same at first level, 10, 20, lots. So it scales a lot in the end game actually. So maybe there's some viability to maxing this first early in lane. You get to the first 10, 15 minutes, you got a maxed out right click. The scaling increases as well, so this is going to threaten to do quite a bit of damage, but the passive shot multiplier per stack gets sliced in half. So your damage numbers aren't going to be as volatile. They're not going to fluctuate as much because it's not going to matter how many stacks your enemies have. It looks like it's mostly dealing damage now based off of this flat base damage, which I like. Inner fire movement speed buff decreased. Thank goodness, dude. She was like the Flash, man. So just down to a flat 3%. So that's good. Because she did have a tendency to walk people down. So I'm okay with that. That's it for the heroes. Wow. So now we're getting into the crests. So this is the warrior crest first into Brutalix, however you want to pronounce it. Brutalix has been a blah blah blah. We're adjusting its stats, decreasing overall potency. Yeah, because this was a bit of a nightmare. Because basically as long as you were autoing, you were nuts. So now it looks like, hang on, let me make sure this is the one I'm even thinking of. Because this one gave you, yeah, it gave you 30% attack speed, and your basic attacks extended it. So basically for the duration of the fight, as long as you're hitting people with auto attacks, i.e. Chimera, Grux, any of those guys, Crunch, right? You're just yamming on people for the length of the team fight. So now it looks like you're taking this actively for that, the cleanse. So lifesteal goes down, physical power goes up, purifying rage, attack speed is decreased a bit. So you're not taking this to go quite as ham, it looks like. You're taking it with intent to cleanse your debuffs, get that tenacity bonus, and also a little bit of attack speed. So overall, I like that change. It makes it a little less good, but I think I like that. Eviscerator gets lifesteal now, interesting. Loses crit chance. And now the Rending Strikes. The Rending Strikes, which is the active ability, so it goes from 15% to 18%, but you get less per additional hit. So that's fine. I think that's fine. Yeah, that'll end up probably being the same, I would think, because you're going 18 to 21, 24, 27. Maybe not. It might end up being a little bit less than the initial scaling, because that's 15, 20, 25. But ultimately, I don't see this being a huge amount of difference. You get some lifesteal, you're not getting crits, so we'll have to play around with that one. Ice Scorn. So the active now grants 15% increased physical power instead of 15% increased damage. So yeah, this is probably what it should have been from the start. Giving it increased damage was just kind of nutty. So that's probably what they meant to make it in the beginning, I would like to think. So overall, I think that does make Ice Scorn worse. But I think that's how the item was designed in the beginning. So Liberator. Everybody's favorite. Let's see here. What was Liberator? Liberator gave you the cleanse, and it gave you crit chance, lifesteal, attack speed, physical power. So physical power gets increased a bit. Lifesteal gets increased a little bit. We lose out on the crit chance because most of these crest items lose their crit. Overall, again, this is kind of the same. This is in the same boat as Brutalix, because you're taking these now with intent to carry that cleanse active, right? So that's why you're taking these. Ortis. This is the rogue one, right? The assassin. Yep. So this got reworked. Limit Breaker now gain 20% movement speed, 10% increased physical power for 6 seconds. Takedowns within the duration grant 3 physical power and refresh. Whoa. So this might be dirty on junglers, on assassin junglers maybe. Kalari, Feng Mao, anybody who looks to snowball. Chimera maybe. Maybe even some carries like Rev, you know, you get some kills early. Because if you're going into duo lane, you have this, you pop it, you get 2 kills. That's 6 permanent physical power now. So it's not bad. It's a snowbally item. It's a win more item. Pacifier. This is the one I always run. So physical power increased, and they just remove crit chance. So you're just taking this for the dash then, it looks like. A little more mobility, which is kind of why I take it on Rev in the first place. He has little to no escapability. Reclamation. I'm going to have little to no input on these because I do not play support, so I have little to no idea on how their items work, but we can still work with numbers, right? So physical armor decreased. That's obviously a nerf, but they added 10 ability haste. Now, haste is good. And I think that does outweigh the 8 armor that you lose significantly, especially when we look at this active that goes on it. It's called Purify. You cleanse and heal yourself and nearby allied heroes for 150 health over 3 seconds. We don't care about the heal, but the cleanse is going to be pretty good. Because, let me see what this thing does originally. Here it is. Right now, you target somebody, you target an enemy and you slow them. You slow them and reduce their attack speed. Like, that's kind of dog water. Like, it's fine. But I would much rather be able to support my team than, you know, hinder the enemy team, I suppose. Because this will be great for things like Faye Ultimate, perhaps Steel Ultimate, Gideon Ultimate, I'm thinking, maybe, because they slow, they stun, right? So if Steel ults and you cleanse right after impact, it might wake all your boys up, so that's something to look out for. I do like that they added the cleanse. We need more anti-CC stuff. Like Reclamation. This is Silentium. So magic armor decreases from 18 to 10, and you add 10 ability haste. So again, yeah, I mean, the reason you ran... what was it? The reason you would run Tranquility, from what I understand, was for this 20 ability haste, and that's kind of what they're saying here. Like, by not taking Tranquility, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot because you're getting 0 ability haste. So they're adding it into both of these now to give you a slightly less hasty option, while not being quite as crippling. So I like that. Those are great. Those are great for the supports. W supports. Spell Slasher. Looks like this is the only tier 1 item, perhaps. Spell Slasher has been a bit underwhelming for its cost, so they gave it haste. So it's probably still 600, and it is. But you get ability haste, which is pretty good, and the physical scaling here. So instead of 40% physical power, you're getting 35. Overall, I think that's a net buff. Claymore gets reworked. Let's pull up Claymore to see what it did. There it is. So it just gave you physical health and... Or, I'm sorry, physical power and health, and then it gave you bonus physical damage on every 3rd basic attack, and a slow. And it looks like it may keep that property. It doesn't say it gets rid of Sunder, so it does go up by 500 gold. That's meaty, bro. Meaty, but you do get over double the physical power, so it's a 250% increase in physical power, which is really good. And you're getting some crit chance now. Hi, puppy. The build changes a little bit, which we don't really care about. But overall, that's going to be... Are you singing to the people? Here, hop down real quick. So overall, I think that's going to be an interesting item because it looks like they're saying here that they're opening up items... Or I'm sorry. They're opening up new T2 components for new ADC itemization. So this might build into something we don't even have in the game yet. Moving on, Heroic Guard. This is kind of one of those win more items. Again, you build this when you're already ahead to try and, you know, keep your lead. To stay alive, because you get this 40% max health cleanse all debuffs. So it's basically salvation. Just instead of the Omnivamp, you're getting a cleanse, right? So this got you out of hot water. Looks like you're no longer going to be able to do that. So they get rid of bravery. You do get tenacity, and it's a little bit cheaper. So overall, you're probably not going to be building this unless you're building it anyway into Legacy. Or I guess Absolution. Because I know Absolution's on this list. I did see the picture. But anyway, we'll get there when we get there. Ironwood Warbow. This goes into your starter items for like Sparrow and Drongo, maybe Murdoch as well. So they just reworked Zap. What did Zap used to do? 40% physical power as bonus magic damage. So it does less percent physical as physical. Hang on. Oh, okay. So right now it does 15 flat plus 40%. Now it is a bumped up to 20 flat but 30%, and it's all physical. It's not magic damage. So you won't be able to skirt the magic damage around physical armor anymore. Like if the duo lane's building, so if the support is building all physical armor, you won't be able to kind of skirt around that with the magic damage because it's all physical now. So on to the next, Rapid Rapier. So no more Ravenous Rapier. We have Rapid Rapier instead. And this was a very good T2 item. This is what you built into like Sky Splitter. Forgive me, I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, so this is what built in the Sky Splitter that gave you lifesteal and physical power. It keeps the physical power. You get some attack speed, and some pen. So that's kind of interesting. Cost-wise, it does go up. So it's a little more expensive for the pen and attack speed, and no more lifesteal. So ultimately, I think that's fine. It does make me curious on what happens to Sky Splitter, though. So I guess we'll have to keep reading to find out. So we'll make a decision on that later. Robust Arbalest. Attack speed increases by 5%. Crit chance decreased, and they get rid of Swift passive, which is basic attack grants movement speed. So you lose the movement speed, you lose a little bit of crit, but you get a little bit more attack speed. I don't like that as much. I'd rather have a little bit more crit and a little more movement speed than 5 attack speed. I think that's kind of negligible, so L for me. Rune Bow. Rune Bow is kind of a weird item. I feel like I only build that into Prophecy. Magnify, that's the one. I knew it was one of those weird attack speed ones. So the cost goes down and the attack speed goes down. That's pretty straightforward and fair. That's totally fine. Soul Chalice. Let's see. Physical power decreased. You do get some ability haste now. That's interesting. And critical font gets reworked. So it used to give you 8 bonus mana up to 400. So already that's a nerf. At max stacks, you gain 2.5% bonus mana as additional crit strike chance. Now you're just gaining it as additional physical power. I think that's better. I think that's objectively better. At least from a carry standpoint, because I don't want to build this or Resolution? I don't want to build this or Resolution on someone like Revenant, who's my main. He's, that's who I think of. I don't want to build that on Revenant because I don't get any bonus for being over 100% crit. With this now, I'm getting, those mana builds, so like Vanquisher, Mindraiser, etc. Maybe that becomes a little more viable. Maybe. But overall, I mean, that's not horrible. It's different. I probably still don't recommend building it, but we'll see. Absolution gets reworked, period. Let's find it. Am I stupid? There it is. Absolution. So it gets a rework. It's the same price. Same physical power, 25 attack speed. So we gain attack speed, we lose 10 armor, and we gain 30% tenacity. Whoa! And then we're gaining a new passive. So bravery gets 25% damage, whoa! A blanket 25% damage mit and 40%. What? Oh, okay, hang on. I should finish reading. When affected by a hard CC effect. Still, that's really good. So when you're stunned, you now get a 25% damage mit and 40% movement speed. Can you imagine that on a Kai or a Crunch? I'm thinking Kai now, after I read this. Gain 1% attack speed for every 3% every 3% missing health for a maximum of 20% attack speed. This might be a Chimera item now. That's really good. That's really good. I like that. We're definitely going to have to play around with that tomorrow. Ashbringer. So they're changing this to a more on-hit ADC item, they say. So let's find it. It's at the bottom. So it goes up in price, 100 more gold, 45 physical power. So it does get 15 more physical power. That's pretty good. You lose 5 attack speed, and you gain 5 ability haste. Now the passive seems to have changed. So basic attacks decrease your current basic ability cooldowns by 0.15 seconds. And an additional 0.15 seconds per stack of clockwork, which you get clockwork when you hit, it looks like. So you can get up to 4 stacks, and that's 0.6 seconds plus the base 0.15. This is so much math. Way more math than I thought I'd be doing. Ultimately, that is 3/4 of a second, which is objectively better than Ashbringer's current passive. Because now this is applying on all autos. It's not just applying on crits. So that is a net buff, I would say. And these attacks deal 15 plus 5 per stack of clockwork bonus physical damage on hit. Interesting. So a maximum of an additional, let's see, 20 plus 15, so 35. You're doing an additional 35 bonus physical damage on hit. Fine, sure. Augmentation. So the cost goes down. You gain physical power, cool. You lose attack speed, interesting. And you gain ability haste. This is dope. Yeah. I rarely took this. Yeah, so this is going to be really good on, again, Crunch, Kai, maybe Grux. That ability haste is going to be really nuts in addition to the, the 300 health, and it looks like you're keeping the passives. They don't mention anything about the passives getting removed, so you're still getting the movement speed on ult, which is really great. And your basic attacks are still going to be, I assume, dealing the 30% of base physical power. So that's pretty good. Oh, no, I apologize. That I may have just lied to your face right there. Yeah, it says True Strike rework. So now it deals 60% total physical power bonus true damage, which is still, I think, a net buff. So overall, excited about augmentation. I think I'm going to be taking that a lot on Crunch. So Bonesaw no longer has Claymore. They gave it some lifesteal. Interesting. So the cost goes up 200. The health goes up 200. Holy schmoly. You get lifesteal and the flurry passive attack speed. which we will get that here in just a second. Bonesaw. The Flurry passive, dealing damage with Colossal Sunder, grants 8% attack speed, stacking up to 6 times. So instead of being able to hit, what is that, 42%, 48% attack speed? 8, 16, 24, 48, yeah. So instead of hitting 48, you're hitting 36% attack speed. So 12% less, that's fine for the lifesteal and the 200 health. That's totally, completely fine. That's going to be great on Grux. That's going to be really good on Grux, maybe really good on Sevarog, maybe really good on... I want to say Crunch if you're building some kind of crit build. Maybe even Kai in the same boat. Anyway, this is good. That's overall a net buff. That's a better item now. Breach loses, so this is a big change. So they're no longer running this as anti-shield. It looks like it's turning to anti-armor. So this is going to be the dedicated, like, armor shredding item. So we may see here is like Muriel getting smaller nerfs leading into 0.5. So they're going to be tinkering with shields overall moving forward. Fine. Cost goes up by 100 gold. We're adding 35 physical power. No, I'm sorry. We're losing 15 physical power. We're gaining attack speed. And we have 8 physical pen. So we lose 2 physical pen. But here we get a look at the new passive. So it used to deal 50% bonus damage to shielded targets. Now it deals 35% of the target's bonus physical armor as bonus physical damage. So the more armor they have, the more damage you do. Successful basic attacks against enemy heroes grant 2 physical pen. Wow. So as you're attacking as well, they're getting you're getting more physical pen. So that's pretty good. And you just gain a flat 25% pen. Wowza. That's pretty good. We'll probably see that a lot more. I think. Breach, I feel like, was kind of niche. I didn't really see it a whole lot. So hopefully it gets a little more use, because I do think it is a good item. Demolisher, what did they do? What did they do to my baby? Let's see here. I know it's near the end. It's pretty expensive. There it is. Demolisher cost decreased by 400. Wow. You lose 5 power. You gain crit strike. You remove desolate, or desolate, I guess, in this this context. It's a verb. Your physical damage is ignored, so you lose out on the 35% armor pen. And the first strike passive gets changed to doing 30% additional damage, physical damage. But it's on a crit. Your next crit. Interesting. Oh, and you just gain a flat 25% physical pen. So I was just looking at the names of these because I'm curious if you're going to be able to build these. No. There's no way they're going to let you stack 50% physical pen. That shouldn't exist, I don't think, because that feels kind of cheesy when I read it. So hopefully that's not what they mean. That would be crazy. Demon Edge, dedicated sustain item for assassins. Yeah, I mean, I build this on Rev because I think it's dirty for the physical power above, when you're above like 40% health, it gives you 10% physical power. So I did build this on Rev for a time. Yeah, while you're above 40%, you gain 10% physical. So they did keep that property, but they changed it to 8%. Whatever. You lose Desolate, so you're losing that 35% armor pen. the cost does go up quite a bit. So it's 400 more. You're gaining 10 power. You're gaining a flat 5% Omnivamp. Oh, it looks like they just took some from the passive. So you get some lifesteal before you're under 40%, which I like that. That's fine. You're still capping out at 10. But that's fine. That's fine. Gives you a little more sustain before you're you know, in trouble. So interesting. We're moving on to Dreambinder. So the spell slow duration decreases from 1.5 to a second. I'm not sure anybody runs Dreambinder anyway. Dust Devil goes down 100 gold. You gain 5 attack speed and 5% crit chance. Oh, but you lose the movement speed. So that was the thing from the I want to say it was the Warbow. Where's this item? I know it's... Oh, yeah, this thing. The Robust Arbalest. So you lose that Swift property. So you're no longer getting any movement speed from Dust Devil, but you are getting attack speed, which I'm pretty sure is why you're taking it anyway. So I think that's fine. And you're getting a new passive here. So successful basics grant you more attack speed, stacking up to 8 times, so up to 16% attack speed. At max stacks, gain 25 physical power and 15 movement speed. So you can still get the movement speed, you just got to get it through 8 successful attacks, or 4 successful crits here, I guess. That's fine. I'd say that makes it an overall better item. Pardon me. Imperator. Imperator goes down 200 gold, big nice, because that's an expensive item. Physical power goes up, interesting. Critical chance goes up. So all of these crit items are going up from 20% to 25%, because now that the crests don't have it, they're keeping it so you only have to build 4 crit items, so you can still flex into some other 5th item for that versatility. So 25% crit. Perfection passive is removed. Perfection is the gain 1 physical power per 4%. So you're not going to get the extra 25 power from this. Which is overall a nerf. You're still getting precision, I assume. So you're still getting 15% more damage on your crits, but you're not getting more physical power. So that's why they made it cheaper. Fine, whatever. Infernum gets reworked. Infernum. There it is. So, it's now reclassified as an assassin item. Oh no. 3100. So it stays the same price. You're getting 5 more physical power. You are getting mana instead of health. And you're getting 20 ability. So the ability haste stays the same. But now you have a new passive. So abilities and basic attacks. Apply stacks of kindling to enemy targets for 5 seconds. At 4 stacks, the kindling ignites, dealing 120% of your total physical power over 2 seconds. That's kind of crazy, right? At 4 stacks. So if this is meant to go on an assassin, let's say Kalari, for instance. You're coming out of the jungle. You're cloaked. You hit E. You hit him with a basic attack. Does that apply 2 stacks? Or heck, to make it even more convoluted, you come out of the fog wall, you hit him with a... you hit E while you're cloaked, and then you hit him with a dagger, right? Because that's your E ability. That's your dagger ability. It's not a basic attack, though. So either way, I think that's max 2 stacks. So you come out, E, basic, dagger, basic, and now they're taking a lot more damage. So that's good. This is I think this is a good item now. I think it's straight up really good. And the fact that it gives you mana means it's going to work in line with Vanquisher. It's going to work in line with, not Painweaver, but the other one, Mind Razor, Resolution, which you're probably not going to be building anymore on Assassins, which you probably weren't to begin with. Anyway. So yeah, Infernum, dub. Build Infernum. Kingsbane, that's another expensive one. Here it is. So it goes up 100 more. You are getting 10 more physical power and 20 attack speed. We're probably losing our crit. What are we losing for this? We're losing some... Oh, it's Omnivamp now. So you lose 3% and it's Omnivamp now. I don't know the difference between the two, Lifesteal and Omnivamp, but that's for someone else to explain. Chaos. So this is a new passive. Chaos basic attacks deal 15 plus 15% bonus physical power, additional magic damage on hit. So this is kind of the prophecy situation where you're dealing physical damage based physical damage as magic damage. And successful basic attacks restore health on hit. So that'll probably end up evening out the 3% that we lose from lifesteal. That'll probably even out. Interesting. I like Kingsbane, so I hope that's still a good item. Legacy gets reworked as an anti-CC. Yay. Yay, more anti-CC. Let's see what we get. We get 200, it's 200 more gold. Physical power is decreased by 5, and it adds 30 tenacity. Wowza. And tenacious bravery. We did have that before. Upon falling below 40% max health, cleanse all debuffs, gain 60% tenacity for 5 seconds. Now, when you drop below 30% max health, it cleanses, so you get a cleanse still, and it grants you CC immunity. Whoa, for 5 seconds? That's a long time. It probably won't matter because you're basically already dead. So I guess if someone's running Legacy and you drop them under 30, just kill them. Just kill them dead. Maybe don't worry about CC at that point. Just murder them. That's a long time. We'll see. Hopefully that's not busted. Yeah. Lightning Hawk. Lightning Hawk goes up 200 gold. Physical power increases by 15. That's pretty good. Your attack speed goes down 5. Crit chance goes up 5. You lose your movement speed. It looks like that's happening across the board with those items. And the build path changes. We don't care. Chilling Zap every 4th successful basic deals 100% total physical power. That's definitely not what it did, is it? It was magic damage is what it was. So now it's applied as physical damage. Okay. So that's still really good. Megacosm. Hopefully they fixed this. Megacosm. There it is. So they changed it from 5% to 4%. And the disintegrate passive additional application mechanic removed. So this is the kind of the 0.5%, or I'm sorry, the 2.5% max health, where it just applies that damage immediately and then refreshes the duration. They got rid of that and they nerfed the initial hit as well. But it now has a new passive that seems to do the same exact thing. Like it's on a cooldown, but it's still doing the same exact thing for more damage. So hopefully that achieves what they were trying to do. I think this was more so an effort to prevent like Gadget ult, or I'm sorry, not ult, but her cone from melting Fangtooths or objectives at large, I suppose. Or Shinbi wolves. Any kind of multi-tick, Fey Flower, right? So those multi-tick DOT type deals. I'm pretty sure that's what this was meant to nerf, so we'll see how that does. At first read, it doesn't sound like it's going to do that, but we'll see. We'll see. Mind Razor, hey, we're almost there. We're about 75% through. Mind Razor goes down in cost by 200. Arcane Strength passive gets gone. So they get rid of the mana, I think is what that is. Yeah, so you're no longer gaining physical power, but you are getting Potent Font from Soul Chalice. Which is the 2.5% power. So you are still getting a percentage of mana as power. And it's a little cheaper, from what I can tell. That seems to be the only difference. Oathkeeper. Build path changes. We don't care. Pain Weaver. Pen decreased. And they remove Spell Slasher. Bummer. But casting an ability will grant you 4 physical pen and 4% movement speed for 4 seconds. Stacking? Whoa! It stacks up to 4 times? That's another great item. That's going to be good for Fengmao, for Crunch, for Kalari, any assassin. Oh yeah, they say it up here. New option for assassins to pick up for burst play patterns. Whoa. That's really good. Up to 16% movement speed and 16 extra physical pen. That's really good. That's really good. Painweaver's going to be really good. They're really focusing on assassins, I feel like, this patch. Assassins and ADCs. So, we'll see. We'll see if the answer to that isn't like a tank patch afterwards. Raiment is busted. So, it looks like they're just tweaking this down a little bit. So, you get 25% less health regen, 3% less healing from damage taken, and it just lasts for a longer duration. So that's all fine. Resolution gets reworked. It's 200 gold cheaper. It gives you the same amount of physical power. It gives you the same amount of mana. No more crit chance. Instead, you get 20 attack speed and physical pen. Interesting. Basic attacks restore missing mana. 3%. That's pretty good. Basic attacks deal 6% of your maximum mana as bonus physical damage on hit. Oh, but it's DOT. So this actually might be interesting on someone like Drongo, who's already using rad rounds for DOT. I'm kind of interested to see how that works, especially... Yeah, I think that's going to be good on Drongo. Or Murdoch, maybe. Sky Splitter loses its sustain. Oh no. So it is 400 gold cheaper, which means they neutered the heck out of this thing. Let's see. More physical power, more attack speed. You lose your crit chance, you lose your life steal, and Ren's passive is decreased from 5% current health to 3%. Oof. So it's not quite as good at anti-tank as it was. It's not good at sustain anymore. Crit chance doesn't matter because that's mitigated elsewhere. But you do get a new passive carve every 4th basic attack against the same target within 6 seconds. So Chimera, Crunch, deals 5% of their maximum health as bonus physical damage. So I take that back, actually. That will still be just as good against tanks. Overall, it's fine. You're not going to get some sustain, so I think we'll see less carries take this, and maybe just seeing it built in the jungle. Because I don't think I want that on Rev. I don't think I do. Anyway. Stormbreaker goes down 200. Physical power goes up by 5. Crit chance gone. Movement speed gone. And Chain Zap, they change it to every 4th successful basic attack releases Bolt of Lightning, dealing 60 plus 50% bonus physical power as magic damage and applying on-hit effect. So that's kind of interesting because if you have Resolution on, say, Murdoch, and you hit somebody with a long shot auto, it's going to apply this DOT to everything it goes through, right? So if this is your fourth basic attack and you hit somebody and it does the bolt, all of those things now are going to take that DOT damage. So that's really good. That's really good. We might see that a lot on Murdoch and Drongo. Tainted Rounds. Let's see here. Tainted Rounds, cost goes down 250. Physical power goes up. Attack speed goes down, both by 5%. and crit strike. So this is a designated crit item now that goes up 5%. Wicked strikes. Basic attacks deal 12% total physical power plus 30% critical strike chance as magic damage, increasing by up to 100% based on the target's missing health. So it's kind of an execute item now. The weaker an enemy is, the more magic damage on hit it's going to do. Does it at least keep... So it does still keep blight, so I mean that's fine. That's fine. I don't see that being really any different than it already is now. I guess just because you're getting your crit instead of a flat physical power. So instead of it just being this flat 12%, you're getting the additional critical strike chance as damage. So, whatever. Cool. Terminus goes up by 100 for 5% more crit chance, and the Anon shield scaling increasing by 20%, so that's pretty good. And you get it immediately now, so that's overall a buff, I would say. For just 100 more gold, that's pretty good. The Perforator gets a rework. I want to see how many more we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're almost done. We're almost done. Perforator, let's find how much it is over here. I want to say it's about 33. It's 3,000 now, so it goes up 300. You do gain 5 additional physical power, and you gain hella ability haste. Another 250% increase, so you're now at 25 ability haste. And your abilities deal, it looks like this is the same passive. Abilities deal 0% to 40% based on health difference as bonus physical damage. So that's the same, as far as I can tell. Why did they put this in here if it's the same? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe one of you guys can point that out to me. But that seemed to be the same. Time Warp. Time Warp triggers now every 8 seconds instead of 5 seconds, and you get a 1 second cooldown instead of 0.5. So this is a late game buff, it looks like. That's going to help out more in the late game. You're not going to get it as often, but it is going to be more effective. And they fix some kind of bugs. Doesn't matter. Unbroken Will. Undying passive grants 30% increased total physical armor and magic armor for 2 seconds instead of 20% damage mitt. So they get rid of the damage mitt, and you're just getting the 30% increase to physical armor. Interesting. Interesting. Vanquisher, cost goes up by 100, physical power goes up by 5, physical pen goes up by 2. They give you crit now on Vanquisher. Interesting. But they get rid of the mana. Arcane Power passive gets removed, so this no longer gives you physical power based on your mana, which hence the removal of the mana. The execute goes up to 7%. Interesting. That's high. Because now you're creeping closer to 10%. I don't think that'll be broken. I think it'll be stronger. I think it'll be maybe noticeably stronger. But overall, I think it's fine. We'll have to see. But overall, I think that makes it a much different item just in general. So we'll see how she does. Viper. I build this a lot on Rev as well because he's kind of nuts with it with his Q. So physical power down by 10. Boo. Crit strike increased by 5%. Ability haste decreased. Man, they're whacking my item here. Hang on. Pause. Ability haste decrease by 10, but you do get attack speed, which doesn't really matter on Rev. Anyway, I digress. So that's overall a huge nerf. I feel like you're going to be building this now more like on maybe Sparrow. If you're building a crit build, this is like the crit item path for like Sparrow or Murdoch, which bummer. And then they're fixing some bugs down here, which don't look super important. But that seems to be it. If you guys are still hanging out here at the end of the video, thank you for making it this far. I hope you guys learned something new, and I hope you're just as excited for this patch as I am. Omega Studios keeps doing good things. I think they're making great progress, and every time they change stuff, it's usually in the correct direction. So now we just got to get the rest of the roster online. But yeah, that's 4.3. And I can't wait to dive into it. I hope you guys are excited too. But that's it for this video, you guys. Like I said, if you did enjoy this kind of content, drop a like below. Drop a subscribe if you want to see more. Like I said, it really does help the channel, and I appreciate your guys' support. But that's going to do it from me. I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.